When you say I am, your I am comes from the spirit level. You have an ego, but you are not the ego. But pathological narcissists believe that they are their ego, you see. They are wired backwards. They abandon their light. They abandon spirit for ego. They abandon source for not source. Whatever is the opposite of source. It is a depleting source. A black hole. Because spirit is light. It's like a star. And well, if you abandon star, then you become a black hole. And a black hole is a collapsed star. The reason why you cannot truly get to know a narcissist is because technically they don't exist. You are interacting with their ego. And this is why you go around in circles with them, because the ego cannot self-reflect. It only projects the darkness that is inside of the pathological narcissist. And if darkness is on the inside, you will eventually see this darkness on the outside because they abandon their light. They're based in shame and they cannot move past their pride. They're in victim abuser consciousness. They did not develop past their lower ego. This is a very dangerous thing. You're dealing with someone that is empathy impaired. They're filled with darkness. They do not have any empathy to give to you, you see. Empathy does not exist. They did not develop to the level to have empathy because they abandoned their spirits. They abandoned their inner light for an ego, a mask, the false self that hides the now dark spirit, you see. What is darkness? The opposite of light. What is darkness but evil? And evil is against the living. It is live inverted. Evil is destructive energy. A black hole. Black holes consume light. So I hope that I'm making it abundantly clear to you that you cannot build with a pathological narcissist. They don't have a connection to their spirit. They lost themselves. And this is why you also feel like you lose yourself in these entanglements. Because what is happening in the spirit realm is that you are being drained. There's no other way that this can go. When you interact with a black hole, a collapsed star, a dark soul, a lost soul, pathological narcissists checked out. They are the trees that snapped in the wind. And understand that the darkness that you're seeing on the outside is them wondering, how is it that they haven't broken you yet? Because there's no empathy in the third dimension. There is no empathy if someone is dark at the spirit level. There's no light to shine. They're running on like 5%. Every day they wake up, they're in shame. And they run from this shame. And they get to pride, dysfunctional pride. Their grandiosity, the ego that is there to protect them. So they believe that they are perfect. And they cannot self-reflect because they don't have a self. So pride comes before the fall and they fall right back down to shame. Self-loathing. Understand that someone that is in a self-loathing state does not have the ability to love you. There is no love in victim abuser consciousness, only victims and abusers. Abuse is the absence of love. You find love all the way up there in the 500s. Pathological narcissists cannot move past level 199. They have psycho-spiritual arrested development. The entire personality is disordered. Dr. Jekyll is Mr. Hyde, and all of the other personalities that they have. That is the disorder. At the core of this is that they are going around in circles. First dimension, wake up in shame. They run from their shame, their low self-esteem, whatever is making them feel unworthy of love, undeserving of love, because shame tells the spirit to hide, because one feels unworthy. So they put up the mask of grandiosity and they've identified with the mask, but they abandon spirit. The mask is fake. The mask is a facade. What you're dealing with today is someone that has accepted an evil spirit. And they accepted an evil spirit when they identified with their ego. Because if they identified with their ego, they abandoned their light. If they abandoned their light, then they accepted darkness. So you will see where behind the veil, pathological narcissists stopped growing somewhere between about 5 and 12 years old. They stopped developing internally, psychologically, and about spiritually, somewhere between the ages of approximately 5 or 12 years old. And this is why they throw tantrums. They're stunted at the age where children throw tantrums. This is the narcissistic rage. So if they behave like a teenager, then it is a maladaptive teenager, which means that something went wrong before that age, because again, it is arrested development. So physically, you could be dealing with a narcissist and they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Elderly narcissists in their 60s and above. And they will behave very childlike. And this is not cute. Childlike, this is very dangerous. Because if someone is 50 and they behave like 5, then something went very wrong. Something went very, very wrong for them to be that stuck. Again, that type of severe arrested development for a 50-year-old to throw tantrums like a toddler, but throwing tantrums as an adult could be something like domestic violence, could be physical abuse, could be sexual abuse. And oftentimes, to explain this, I use a very good quote by healer, author, and shaman Malidoma Patrice Somé, where he states that if you keep a person in an adolescent state, then they will act militaristically. So an adolescent state means an underdeveloped state, a childlike state, a childish state, a Peter Pan-like state. They will act militaristically, meaning very violent and oftentimes very volatile. And when we are talking about pathological narcissists, we are talking about someone that did not develop past their lower ego. They did not individuate. They did not become an individual. So something went wrong between toddler and teenager. They stopped growing. Again, Peter Pans, Patricia Pans. And because of this, they're stuck in a very dangerous state. Because now you are dealing with someone that is seeking from the external a problem that is coming from the internal. But they cannot self-reflect because they don't have a self. You are dealing with a walking void. You're dealing with a walking black hole. They have to consume light. They don't have a connection to their spirit. So people often ask, can narcissists change? Well, narcissists do not truly want to change. Again, the dysfunctional pride. And again, their ego is their armor, so their narcissism is their superpower. So what you see is when someone is far deep in their ego, they normally stay there because that is kind of where they've been for years, long before you came into the picture. So you'll see where narcissists are addicted to chaos. They love it. They love the dysfunction. They love the triangulation. They love gaslighting. They love a smear campaign. They love it. The grumpy old troll lives under the bridge because that is where trolls live, you see. And pathological narcissists are based in shame and they cannot move past their pride. They are below the bridge, below the fourth dimension, where one gets to rational and linear thinking. So you're wondering why they don't think rationally. Well, they don't think rationally because they don't have rational thinking to give to you. They have severe psycho-spiritual arrested development. So what happens is you try to put the troll in a house, in a condo, in an apartment, and you see that it doesn't work. Because the troll will eventually go back under the bridge. That's where trolls live. That is their vibration. So at the spirit level, narcissists need deliverance. At the psyche level, they need a lot of psychological work. And at the physical level, they'll need a lot of rehab for the various addictions that they may have. And at the end of the day, this individual would need to be a brand new person for them to not be a pathological narcissist, because at the end of this, they would have a connection to their spirit. They would be 95% spirit and 5% ego instead of being 95% ego and 5% spirit. So understand that narcissists at their core have a spiritual problem. And at this level, the language that you use for this is deliverance, or what you may commonly call exorcisms. Because what you're dealing with today is someone that has accepted an evil spirit. And an evil spirit will use the mind for evil. They will use their emotions for evil. They will emotionally manipulate you, emotionally blackmail you, psychologically abuse you. They will use their will for evil. They'll use their will to break your will, to impose upon you, because they have accepted an evil spirit. If you abandon light, you accept the darkness. That is how this universe works. So what you are dealing with today is someone that has accepted an evil spirit. Whoever you thought you knew on day zero does not exist. You are dealing with that dark, manipulative spirit from day zero. And this is why you'll go around in circles with them. They love it. That is where they live. In 1D, 2D, 3D consciousness. When you have access to 4D and above, you have access to courage and acceptance and neutrality and love and peace and joy. If you ascend, and you ascend by getting the courage to walk away and stay away from these toxic, dysfunctional personality types. Because you cannot grow with a pathological narcissist, they're done growing. And they stop growing somewhere between the ages of about 5 and 12 years old. So they are regressing. So you're trying to grow with someone that is regressing. You're going into polar opposite directions. Pathological narcissists are going in circles because they are stuck in the 3D. And they have been stuck long before you came into the picture. And that is really it for today's video, kind folks. Understand that narcissists are going around in circles because they are going around in circles. This is the arrested development that they have, the psycho-spiritual arrested development. So narcissists are going around in circles because they're looking for something outside the house, when the problem that they have is that it comes from inside the house. But you're dealing with someone that cannot self-reflect, and they cannot self-reflect because they don't have a true self. But they won't let go of the false self to reconnect with the true self. Again, Groundhog's Day. It's the same day over and over and over again because that is the narcissistic pathology. All right, kind people, thanks so much for your continued support. Ensure that you are liking these videos. Ensure that you are subscribed for more empowering content. If you have any questions or feedback, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. Sheikah is the name. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And I'll see you in the next video.